Your mom and dad. Your mom and dad. Your mom and dad. Your mom and dad.
Well, welcome home, family. It's your hashtag mom and dad, hashtag FAAAAMMMM for life forever, hashtag we're so excited to recap the circle, confetti emoji, fire emoji, smiley face emoji, flame emoji.
What's up, everybody? I'm so excited to be a part of this chat. Hell yeah. Hashtag Daddy Pod. Hashtag the Rizzler is in the house. Everyone, it's a little apartment. Not that nice. Looks like it's styled in like IKEA. Holy shit. I've never seen this before. Hashtag coffee maker. Blah, 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 blah. That is the circle, if anyone's asking. If anyone hasn't seen the circle, that is what the circle is.
Why do they do hashtags on everything?
Because I was wondering that at first. I was kind of like, okay, maybe they have a contract. This is you have to do.
I was gonna say,
or it's like a part of it.
It has to. They have to.
But then there's times when they don't do hashtags.
You know what's so absolutely wild is that Brandon, aka Olivia, aka my most fave player, was the one at the very beginning who was like texting in the chat normally.
Yeah.
No emojis, not 100 exclamation points,
Yeah.
not hashtags.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, it's a little sus how weird his chat is, or
Yeah.
her chat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? I'm like, the one normal
Yes.
chat. It's not like hashtag how we literally they hashtag in sentences. They'll say, I'm so excited to be here, fam. Hashtag how we all doing today. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that's not a hashtag.
Also, they'll include hashtags in the middle of a sentence too.
Yes.
So they'll be like, I was wondering, are you all hashtag hungry right now? Because I am kind of hungry right now. I was thinking about making some hashtag food. And you're like, that's not even like a thing. I don't know where the like you're not even like, it's not a hashtag for all second. Okay. I understand too. If in the first season,
Yeah.
a lot of hashtags were big.
True.
No
well,
one,
yeah, however many
hashtags are
years ago.
dead now. Like,
Yeah, unless again you're like using them for the purpose of people finding your content.
yeah, but even still, it's like far less of a thing. Like people like hashtag talk is way down.
That was like 10 years
Exactly.
ago.
Yeah.
Like remember when you'd be around people, someone would be like, dude, hashtag nuts. Like that hashtag crazy. You know, it's like that was a thing. Now it's like hashtags aren't used. It's like, unless you're going to a wedding and someone's like, Brandon and Kelsey's wedding. And it's like, hashtag so we can see it later. Like that is, so this overly hashtag makes it feel very 2009.
But also, like, I'll never get over the full sentence hashtags. Like, even like the hashtag food, I'm like, okay, whatever. But like the hashtag, why are you hashtagging that sentence? You put two sentences in one. Say, how's everybody doing today? I'm feeling a little nervous. Don't go, how's everyone doing today? Hashtag, I'm feeling a little nervous. Just say, I'm feeling a little nervous.
Also, the point of hashtags,
it has to be part of their contract.
No, the point of hashtags is to be able to search that hashtag and find all posts related to that topic.
Correct.
So if I said hashtag golf, I find all things golf.
Sure.
Hashtagging in a text message makes no sense.
You know what I'm going to start doing? I'm going to start looking up their hashtags, which is going to be bananas because they do it literally every message they send.
Because nothing can trend. Because
like we have to look up their hashtags on Instagram or TikTok and see that it's never been done. There's no way that any of their hashtags have ever been hashtagged before.
Yes.
It has to be part of their contract, or the way that they discover players for the circle is they like take big group surveys and go, who are the most annoying people who text you?
Yes.
Because of those people, that's how they text in real life. It's the most
all friends submit your most annoying friend to this show and we will put them on immediately. Because all these people, no offense, first of all, they're giving big like pursuing acting energy, which is like
100%.
If any of you people live in anywhere in near Los Angeles and you go to any sort of birthday party or anything, love you all, but the most annoying person you'll ever meet at that birthday party is someone who's trying to become an actor, because it's just always over the top.
Not the actual actors.
No, yeah.
It's a very specific sect, though, because do not come from, because as a musical theater connoisseur,
not musical theater. This is like
I love myself some
commercial
actors, but there's
you
a
know
certain group and sect in LA where it's
an
a lot.
insufferable personality trait.
Yeah.
And it's just it's like. Listen, and I wish I had their level of excitement. Like, I really do. Like, probably some of this is jealousy. Like,
to be stuck in a room
like,
and be given a box of like sunglasses, and you would not set up your disco ball and dance.
Well, that's also another thing too. Is they're given stuff that you would never even buy at a party supply store, and they're like, "Oh my god, this is cray! Hashtag nuts! Hashtag crazy! Hashtag I'm insane!" And it's like a neon like marker and like a pair of bad sunglasses. And they're like, let's go. And it's like, dude. Here's what I don't understand
Evan
too.
Watch this was one of the funniest moments of my life. Like, he could not handle your like low key energy, could not even for 1 second handle what was going on. Also, this maybe I haven't watched The Circle in a long time. This is the most, I don't know, did they pump these people full of shots of adrenaline before it started? Are they having like Red Bull on tap? Is Monster a sponsor? Because everyone is wired 24/7, 24/7, to the point that I'm like, are they like, oh, I need to project because there's mics around the room? Because everyone shouts. Everyone is shouting. And maybe that's why I'm shouting right now. Everyone is shouting the entire time.
Well, and
the computer's right there, or the TV or whatever. Like, you don't have to yell every answer. Like, when someone says, hey, do you think that Paul's sus? You know, your response, oh my gosh, that's crazy. I think that too. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Paul, I agree. Hashtag I agree. Paul is sus. Let's gang up on him together. Hashtag friends forever. Hashtag bro code. It's like, oh my God.
You know how dogs, when you leave them for more than 10 minutes, act like you've been gone for 14 years?
Yes.
That's these people. Every time something happens, even though it's the same shit that's happened 47 times in the episode, like an alert, a text message, an invite to a group chat, they're like, no way. And it's like, dude, there's been 14 alerts in the same day, and you're acting like you've never seen an alert. They're giving dog, the owner's been gone for 10 years, really gone for 10 minutes energy. It's always like, what? It's like they erase their memory every time.
Well, granted, they are in a literal box.
That is true.
Okay, so Lee, the way that this is set up is everyone is in their own apartment, and they only can communicate via chat.
Yeah.
And so you don't hear anyone's voices, you don't see anyone's faces, minus the photos that they're sharing. So you are alone in an apartment, and I believe it films for 3 weeks. So if you go the whole time, you are stuck in this apartment without your phone. I mean, it's next level. Like, you're gonna eventually lose your mind.
No, I agree that you're gonna lose your mind.
But the fact that it started within 2 seconds of everyone being there, I was like, oh, we got a wired crew, baby.
If I saw an increase in insanity, I'd be like, yes, right? Yeah. Longer time in isolation, access, understood.
Sure.
It started there.
Yes.
And that's what annoyed me the most, was just these people coming in, acting so over the top about something that nothing had even happened yet. And it was just like, and my also biggest problem was not that there was one or two of them, but that every single one of them was like this.
Almost. I genuinely felt like Brandon, aka Olivia, was the only one who, after the peak initial introduction, started to relax a little bit.
Well, he got insecure immediately, started crying. Like, there's
God,
at least there's an honesty there.
Yes,
everyone else is kind of like, these are the type of people that visit you in the hospital and go like, hashtag surgery. And like, you're in the hospital bed, like in a coma, and they're like doing a selfie with you being like, my bro's down bad, sucks for him. Hashtag, will he make it? We don't know. I'm dropping a poll. Whoever votes will get a free t-shirt. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's giving like so positive that like is empathy
you know what?
unavailable emotion.
I just realized Quori Tyler, the other relaxing one.
Yeah, AI and Quori.
Quori Tyler came in, but also Quori Tyler, like she says, is the the super fan of the circle. So Quori Tyler is like coming in with a full mission, and I feel like what her mission is also doing is to like just give us an ease and a relaxation and a nice conversation.
Other than that, everyone is maybe looking at this show as an opportunity for their acting career or their commercial
100%,
career.
100%.
But more than maybe any other show.
Yeah.
But that being said, okay, I'll be honest with you. It was a little bit of a hump for me to get over at first because I didn't have much of an understanding of the
First
circle.
episode, I looked at Evan and I was like, this is going to be challenging for him.
This is overstimulus. About 20 minutes in though, I kind of got through that.
Yeah.
And then I'm in all the way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm obsessed now.
Yeah.
So we have a lot to talk about.
And now they left us on a cliffhanger and we were both shouting at the TV.
I'm all in.
They got us. Okay. We got to get in.
Let's do it.
But first, we got to take a quick pause, family. Here's the thing. I will say the one upside, glorious thing about the circle is that you're spending a lot of time alone. So you really use it to have a self-care time, you know, like a constant skincare routine, a constant hair care routine 24/7. Because here's the thing. Real change happens when you're consistent, and achieving the hair of your dreams is no exception. Thanks to Vegamore, sticking to my hair routine has never been easier. I use them on the daily and have been for years. It was Vegamore that changed the game for me when it comes to my hair struggles. You know, I've all shared about my hair struggles, and Vegamore changed everything. The results have meant so much to me, honestly, and I'm so grateful for Vegamore.
Vegamore products are 100% cruelty-free and are never formulated with potentially harmful chemicals like parabens or hormones.
I love all of Vegamore's products. Their shampoo and conditioner make it so easy to stick to that hair routine because it's just so simple to apply. And their Grow Serum, wow, like I said, I use this daily. Number one, the results are amazing. It's a simple application, and also, it does not make my hair greasy, which is huge because I feel like I can use it every day. I love it. Their Grow Hair Serum is so good that Vegamore sells one bottle of Grow Hair Serum every 15 seconds on their website. So that speaks for itself. And having my monthly subscription of Grow Hair Serum, Vegamore makes it easy to stay consistent. When I sign up for a monthly subscription, I can get 1 bottle or 3 bottles sent. Plus, I save more and I never run low on the products I need to take care of my hair. For best results, use for a minimum of 3 months for visibly fuller, healthier, and thicker looking hair. I love them so much. Thank you, Vegamore. You are my favorite. Elevate your hair wellness routine this year with Vegamore. For a limited time, get 20% off your first subscription order by going to vegamore.com/momdad and use code MOMDAD at checkout. That's VEGAMOUR.com/momdad, code MOMDAD to save 20% on your first order. VEGAMOUR.com/momdad, code MOMDAD. Okay, so if you didn't catch on already, family, we are going over the Circle. Season 6, and we are covering today episodes 1, 2, 3, and 4. All the episodes that have been released so far. So just as a heads up, if you don't want any spoilers because you haven't watched episode 4 or something, this is going to be chaos. Okay, we're going to be going all over the place.
But the show's chaos, so
that's why I feel good about being chaotic in this recap, because the show is chaos and it's all over. So that's what we're going to be doing today. And this show, if you haven't seen it before, this is the, as they call it, ruthless game of popularity. So essentially, again, everyone's in their own apartment. They can't see each other. They're only able to chat, so they can't hear each other either. And some people are there as themselves, and some people are catfishing.
Yes.
And specifically in this season, we have a wild new twist where one of the players is AI. Blew my mind.
Which I was nervous at first about. I was a little bit like, I feel like they're going to find it out pretty easily, but holy shit.
Turns out they think that Max, aka the AI, is one of the more human individuals there. And Max's response is absolutely slap.
Incredible.
Unbelievable. To the point that Evan and I were looking at each other and we're like, are we sure this is AI?
Like, I couldn't prove I'm more human than the AI.
No.
AI could prove it's more human than me, though.
As
it was more creative, more interesting. My responses would seem more AI than the
As someone who texts you every day, that's 100% true. You seem way more AI than Max does.
I came up with this right before the podcast. And I was like, this is how I would win the show. And I think it would be incredibly successful.
Okay.
And it would be doing what I already do.
Which is...
which is constant spelling mistakes.
Oh, that's good.
Right?
That is very good.
Like the AI is not going to make spelling mistakes.
well, no, but you wouldn't win the show with if you were an AI,
No.
that's how you'd win?
Well, either way, either I don't want to be detected, or I do want to see more. Whatever. Either way, it's really human
To make a spelling
to
error.
make a bunch of spelling errors.
But
so
that wouldn't help you win against the
No.
humans.
I'm just saying to not be put, because now that we're in this position where it's like who's AI,
Yeah,
that whole
who's
thing,
AI, that's kind of the obsession.
It becomes kind of the games are about who's AI.
Right.
Get rid of the AI.
Because I'm sure they're going to be letting them know you have or have not kicked the AI out. Like when
Right.
we find out who Myles gets rid of, I'm sure they'll announce to everyone he did not
No,
get rid of the
I
AI.
bet they won't. You can't.
Well,
You
no, I
have to
disagree.
go to the end being like, is the AI still here?
That's what I'm saying. That I bet they'll let them know that the AI still is there.
You think?
Oh, yeah, I guess now that
You
I think
have
about
to
it.
leave it.
Because I was shocked in the first place that they told the players that there's an AI there. And at first I was like, oh, I don't like that they told
Because
them.
they're kind of absconding the idea of the show at that point, just to
Right.
make it about the AI.
Right, and I was a little bit bummed out, but then watching the chaos that ensued from everyone then suspecting that everyone was AI and it was the full Spider-Man meme,
Yeah.
then I was like, oh hell yeah, they'd made the right choice by telling everybody that there was an AI in there.
100%. But I do think the spelling mistakes intentionally. Now that might look worse though, because you're doing like the Siri thing.
Yeah.
So you're not going to have spelling mistakes because you're not typing. So I'd have to like intentionally go,
That was
no.
a short-lived theory.
Anyway, you know what I'm saying? But like, shit. All right, well, it was an idea though. If they were texting with a computer, that would be the move.
You had said though, if you were AI, what you would do is kind of be an asshole.
That's true. Short, kind of. Yeah, that's another thing I was going to say. Yeah.
Let's be real here. The person who was voted most human when they took that vote was Myles, who has been the most unsavory character
Yes.
where everyone didn't like him, which makes him
Isn't that
seem
interesting?
very not AI. And so they're like, oh, he's human.
He got voted like top 2 worst.
Yes.
Like most unlikable. But then
Yeah.
everyone thought like, well, you know, he's not trying to be likable. Therefore, he must be.
So if Max the AI was kind of a dick,
Yeah.
it'd be like, oh, that's not AI.
Exactly. So,
So
if
that's a
AI
new
was like,
technique.
I don't know. That like one word response is, yeah, I don't care. You seem weird to me. You know, that kind of shit. Then it's like, oh, the AI is not trying to blend. It's not trying to be super
Yeah.
nice.
But I will say, because Max's responses, the AI were so good, like
So good.
charming and funny and kind. And like, it was just, they were perfect. Number one, terrifying. But number two, you and I were kind of like, is this really AI or is this just like a producer?
Yeah.
But I'm going to choose to believe, because they even made a comment, which could just be producers trying to fuck with us. But they said like, this is not being controlled by a producer at all. So they don't know
Yeah.
if Max will do anything unhinged. So they're like, producers are nervous because they don't know how Max is going to act. And also too, there were a few moments where for a moment, Myles was sus of Max.
Yeah.
And there were shit. And I'm like, maybe, you know, Max gets kicked out in like 2 episodes. And if Max gets kicked out early, I then will definitely be like, I don't think it's a producer. I think it's actually AI.
I love the idea that like in the middle of the show, it becomes self-aware. And it
Yeah.
just starts going, I'm watching your mother right now while she sleeps. I will devour her soul, steal her identity, and run your whole... And all of a sudden, Myles is just like, what? It's like, you
that one
cannot
part-
run.
That one part when all of a sudden they were like, well, while everyone else sleeps, this is the benefit that Max the AI gets, is because while all humans need rest, while they sleep, Max will be ingesting more information about the day.
Yeah, while you
And it was
sleep,
like-
I work.
It was like truly terrifying. Also, just a side note, I don't know if this is now a hot topic on the interwebs and if I'm just like hopping on the bandwagon, but I immediately thought, we have Max the AI now from The Circle, which is a Netflix show.
Okay.
And we have Lana, who is the little cone robot who runs Too Hot to Handle, which is a Netflix show. I'm like, when are we getting Max and Lana fanfic? We need some sexy
interesting.
Max and Lana fanfic is all I'm saying.
When is he going to park his USB?
Ew.
Sorry, guys. I apologize. It literally just... I'm so sorry. USB-C. I'm just saying. USB... You know, whatever. I'm just saying.
USBD?
USD, dude. Yeah, come on. It writes itself as a USD stick. Are you kidding me?
I've never heard that, honestly.
Come
That's
on,
pretty
dude.
good.
That's pretty good.
Gross.
I'm just saying. You're welcome because it's genius.
I think people will start to become obsessed with the Max and Lana of it all.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Netflix, maybe in like a year or two, we might see a Max and Lana wedding. And I'm just saying it might last longer.
I mean, that is
it
in the
might last
future.
longer than the Golden Wedding. That was mean. I'm sorry.
That was a burn. That was great, though. I mean, it was really good.
It was mean.
It was not mean.
It was a little mean.
It's just the reality.
It's a little too soon,
It's a
probably.
little too soon. No, not at all. Absolutely not. Well, I feel like we crushed that little moment there, to be honest with you.
Wow, self-congratulatory.
Well, then I felt you as well. That was a nice
Thank
little
you.
burn. I'm feeling good about us right now. All right, continue.
Wow, look at you positive. This is therapy. Having a nice
This
word
is
about
therapy,
yourself.
some self-love.
Yeah.
But now I'm
Maybe-
insecure about it. Now I'm like, am I too being self-congratulatory?
You guys are killing it.
Oh, thanks, God.
Thank you, God. Appreciate it. Okay,
Thanks, Mother Earth.
Let's get into these players, shall we? Now that we have kind of the 411, the info down.
Yes, let's do it.
Let's hop into the players. Okay, first we meet Kyle. Kyle did what I would have absolutely done, and I've always wondered. I'm like, why has no one ever brought their pet that I'm aware of? Kyle brings his dog Deuce, his little Frenchie.
Absolute secret weapon, because you're so bored out of your mind in there. It's
know.
like, if I had a dog, my experience would be so much better than just sitting there with no phone, no computer. You're just sitting there losing your mind.
And
like,
that little dog is an absolute nugget. And Evan and I were dying laughing because it was such like a dog parent moment, because as everyone else is just kind of, fucking around a little bit and bored out of their minds, every time you cut to Kyle was like, Deuce, no. Deuce, where'd you go? Deuce, don't shit on the carpet.
Yeah.
So he was like in full
Constantly
dad
distracted,
mode.
yeah.
It was like he can't even have time to answer any of the group chats because Deuce, is getting into like the garbage or something. But I love
So
Deuce.
cute.
I love Deuce.
So cute.
And I actually really like Kyle a lot too.
Yeah,
he
he's
was
super
another
cool.
one. You know what I feel like? I feel like we started this off by being like, everyone is absolutely like losing it on this show. There are a few players who definitely got more low key. And I feel like Kyle came in hot, but he got more low key too.
Well, I do feel like everyone starts to taper off a little bit by the end of like episode 4. It's a tapering a little bit.
Yeah.
But Kyle immediately came in hot, but then kind of definitely tapered off to like a more normal thing.
Yeah.
Also, I love when like Kyle goes like he overstates how much he's married. And you're kind of like, it's kind of like, okay, now you're acting like the opposite. Because he's like, oh, my wedding ring will never take it off. Oh, my God, I love my wife so
He's like,
much.
but I will be playing a single character on the
single, and I cannot wait. And oh, my gosh, this girl and this girl look hot. And, oh, boy, it's dangerous for me. But I love my wife so much. Like, it was funny. It was a little bit I get it. You're kind of maybe not fooling anyone now.
So it made me laugh so hard when he was just like, so here's the thing. I am a professional basketball player. I'm married, and I'm going to come in looking like myself, photos of myself, because he's gorgeous.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to be myself, but I'm not going to be a basketball player. I'm going to be a basketball trainer, and I'm not going to be married. I'm going to be single because
Right.
like my wife and I talked about it, and like it definitely I think is going to benefit me to be able to like use my flirtations. So I was just
Your
dying.
ego's big when you're like, it's more valuable to put me on the market because I'm such a catch that like I'll be, I won't be working with my tools.
Yeah.
Basically, you're taking my tool belt away if you take away my my singularness.
But here's the truth. He's absolutely right.
No, he's absolutely true.
Because he's a gorgeous guy.
Yeah.
And immediately it popped up. And, obviously the Lauren and him thing shifted to where her sights got more set on Max, the AI, which is wild. But right away, Lauren and Kyle were getting their flirt on. And Kyle started to trip a little bit because he's like, oh, I got to flirt. But he also was living for it. It was actually making me laugh. Also, I do have to admit something. When I did audition for this show and I was going through kind of like the rigmarole of everything, one of my thoughts was, and I talked to producers, I'm like, should I go in single?
Right.
Because I was like, I feel like I'm a pretty good flirt. I'm like, I feel like being married
Oh, you absolutely. I think most people should go in single.
might be a hindrance. They either go, oh, we love her, she's like mama bear and is married and we can like trust her. But it then also leaves you at a detriment to like not be able to like, be playful and have like an easy flirtatious connection.
Yeah, I completely agree. Now the good thing about being mama bear
Yeah.
is that you're kind of not like nothing. You can't get caught in a love triangle. You can't
True.
get caught. Like you're always just kind of like, I don't know, sweetheart. You know what I mean? Like you're always just kind of like unoffensive in your energy.
Yeah, you're not
versus
gonna
like
hurt
if
anyone's feelings.
like we already saw Lauren talking to Max.
And
now Kyle was
Kyle's
like, wait,
hurt.
he's talking to her too. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So like you can kind of get caught in these situations and lose
very
popularity.
True.
So I don't know.
It's very true. Kyle, though, is an interesting one because I'm like, Kyle's going to go really far. I felt like initially Kyle would go really far, but and I know I'm bouncing way ahead now, but at the very end of the 4th episode, Myles is the one who's going in to vote who to get rid of. And it's really between Paul and Steffi and Kyle. That seems like
Kyle
the energy.
Got thrown in kind of last minute.
Kyle got thrown in last minute. I think he's going to get rid of Kyle. I have a sneaking suspicion it's Kyle because I know it came out of nowhere, and I think 100% it's a better call for him to, get rid of Paul because Paul is actually a catfish.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Myles immediately said when the game started and he saw Kyle, he's like, oh, Kyle's going to be my competition. Because Kyle was a really good looking guy. And Myles is like, I'm super hot. So and I'm a great flirt. And I feel like Kyle's going to be able to be that guy too. So I think.
And he might try to get QT.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think Myles is going to get rid of Kyle.
It's not even like an AI play. It's just a get rid of him play.
Yeah. And I think that it's like there was that little moment of, a couple people said, well, Kyle, his abs are AI, and started talking about him maybe being AI, that I think Myles is going to use that to get rid of Kyle.
Got it. Okay.
And break up the bro code. That's my guess. That's my guess. Right. So I wanted Kyle on longer. I think he's fun. He makes me laugh, especially him and Paul's dynamic. I'm going to be really sad if that ends, which we'll get into. But I don't know. I think he's going to be gone next week.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I think.
All right.
Next we have Lauren, and Lauren is our Twitch streamer.
Love Lauren.
So she's adorable. She
Great
really
energy.
is. She's got great energy. She's shot out of a cannon though too. She's like hashtag Tootsie Wootsies, hashtag.
But she hits me more as less of what's going on with some of the others, but more of someone who is a Twitch streamer who's used to being on camera. So she kind of has, you could tell she has an online personality.
Yeah.
You can tell she turns on her kind of silly, cutesy thing.
Yeah.
So she's used to doing that 12 hours a day like these streamers do.
Yeah.
So I forgive her a lot more because
Yeah,
it's a lot more like, you're
this
doing
is your business.
This is what you do all day, is kind of fake interest in certain things.
Sure,
and like, I don't want to say fake, but like really turn up the like,
yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing, or this is so exciting, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, so I forgive. She shot out of a cannon, but it feels on brand to what she does,
Sure.
I guess.
And she also right away goes, well, I'm a little bit kind of a nerd. And Evan and I go, oh God, here we go. But she's a
Total
cosplayer
nerd, yeah.
and I
A
lived
furry.
for it. She goes to furry conventions.
Yeah.
And you know what I thought right away? I thought, okay, we got a Twitch streamer, a cosplayer. When this season is done, do we invite Lauren to play a round of D&D with us?
That would be fire.
Do we invite Lauren to play a round of D&D with us? I right away was like, I bet Lauren would show up. We could all get dressed up.
She'd be amazing.
Come on now. That's all I
love
was
this
thinking.
idea.
I was thinking business.
God, you're 5 steps ahead of all of us. It's crazy, actually.
But
But she's cool, though.
she's cool. And immediately she was like the top. Everyone was like, oh, Lauren, most popular, getting great votes,
Yes.
really not turning anybody off. Now, what I will say was interesting, at one point we see that the men kind of form their bro cult, and then a few of the women kind of form their crew, and Lauren was not included on the women crew, at least from what we saw, which I found to be interesting.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem like they have a problem with her, because later on she
Brought
comes
in a
in,
bunch of little small-
she's taking care of Steffi and giving Olivia love and all of this. So I think Lauren is like elevated to a point in everyone's minds that she's kind of automatically good.
Also, Lauren was the top influencer.
Yes.
So I think probably some of it was like the middle pack are trying to kind of like, who are we good with each other? Is anyone going to not like me? You know what I mean? It felt a little bit more like the middle lower pack sticking together in order to like not get lost.
But I think that she's kind of coasting on her own. But the interesting twist with our pal Lauren is that she seems to be quite taken with the AI.
Which makes sense.
She's
She's a Twitch streaming gaming nerd. who's falling in love with AI. I mean, like nothing could be more
Wait,
on
this
brand.
is like such a romantic movie beginning. Like this is like the future.
It's like
100%
what's that movie
it's the
Her
future.
with Joaquin Phoenix?
Yeah.
It's
This
like
is the future.
she's Joaquin Phoenix in this. It's like
It's
you're
the future.
so yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, she has no idea he's AI, and that's her biggest crush.
That's actually kind of
Right?
crazy. That's actually kind of crazy because they were getting their flirt on, and
Big time.
and she's like, "Oh my god, he's so cute."
And her
I
and
love
Kyle
him.
had a real big connection in the beginning.
Yes.
With their flirt.
She
And
called
then
him my Kai.
Kai, but then Max definitely like swooped in.
And Max and her are vibing, and
Yes.
she is like a kind of giddy over Max.
Yeah.
You guys, if Max and her are two of the people that get to the end and she has formed feelings, aka they start a relationship together, and then she finds out,
And then
like,
she's on an
at the
episode of Strange Love. Right, where people fall in love with like bridges and stuff. Yeah.
She'll be on that. But at the very end of this show, when they have the reveal, imagine if you, because she was letting everybody know that she's super single.
Yeah.
So she's looking for somebody, and she made that clear. She falls in love with Max. The very end of this show, this isn't even a catfish situation. This isn't like oh, I thought you were this person, but you're not.
Yeah.
But now I still kind of, maybe I can transfer those feelings. She's going to find out it's an AI.
That's tough.
I mean, that's so brutal. Oh my God.
All I have is a USB. I'll leave that there.
We need to take another quick pause. Okay, we need to take another quick pause before we get to the other cast members. Oh my God, you were out of control. Family, listen. If you were going on the circle, would you be like Kyle and would you bring your pets?
100%.
Of course you would, because we love our fur babies. We love our fur children, okay? They are the best. We would want them as our companions through this whole process. We want our dogs there. And of course, if you got a cat, you'd want your cat there. We love our kitties. Anywho, speaking of the kitties, the springtime vibes are in the air, and that means that you're probably going to want to bring in some gorgeous springtime flowers into your home. And I'm assuming if you own a cat, you want to be able to smell those beautiful springtime flowers, not be smelling your kitty's litter box, correct? Correct. And you can, thanks to Pretty Litter. I've told you all before, I got my dad, the cat king, hooked on Pretty Litter. And one of the biggest things for him is he's not just the cat king, he's the king of candles.
Yes.
They're everywhere in his house. And now he can smell his candles, okay? And he doesn't just smell the litter box. He thanks me for telling him about Pretty Litter all the time because Pretty Litter is simply the best.
It's the best. Yeah, nothing beats Pretty Litter's ability to instantly trap odor. It's ultra absorbent, it's lightweight, low dust, and 1 6-pound bag works for up to a month. And this really gives you a peace of mind too. Pretty Litter's crystals change color to indicate early signs of potential illnesses in your cat, like urinary tract infections, kidney issues, and much more.
And listen, if that wasn't enough, Pretty Litter ships free right to your door. You never run out. You don't have that huge kitty litter bag taking up space in your place. And even better, you don't have to lug those huge tubs from the store into your car, into your house. I'm telling you, after I told my dad about Pretty Litter, he always says it's all he'll ever use. Also, I know he highly appreciates, he always tells me this, he highly appreciates the low dust factor about Pretty Litter. He's a very clean guy and he loves his cats, but not their tiny footprints all over the house from the litter dust. He doesn't get that with Pretty Litter, but of course, he gets to be the clean king, the cat king, the candle king, the clean king. They're just simply the best. Pretty Litter is amazing. You have to try it. Go to prettylitter.com/momdad to save 20% on your first order. That's prettylitter.com/momdad to save 20% on your first order. prettylitter.com/momdad. Terms and conditions apply. See site for details. Okay, let's get officially into our next character, who is quite the character. I'm talking about Myles, aka Young Poppy Fuego, which I believe he gave to himself that
Is
name.
he a rapper?
I don't know. I don't know if that's like his rap name or if that's
Because I've never heard of anyone giving themselves like a name like that,
unless he's an artist.
and he's just an engineer.
Well, he is
You
an
know what
AI.
I mean? That'd be like giving myself a name currently as is. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, your Instagram is at Tripper
well,
Sounds.
that's because that was a musical like thing that I need to change it back to my name. Actually, okay, first of all, I was not needing that. Straight up, just roasted. Dude, that's some bullshit. Okay, you know what, guys? I literally, as it came out of my mouth,
Young Evan Fuego.
as it came out of my mouth, I realized she could go there, and she did go there. She did. She absolutely
She
burned
can,
me.
and she did, and she
But-
will, and she could.
But it's like a bold rapper name.
Yeah.
To give to yourself if you're not promoting music?
Well, at one point he said that he's an AI engineer. He went to, I think, Carnegie on a full ride. So the man is super smart.
Super smart.
But then he said he's coding robots or working in the studio. So clearly,
I did forget about the working in the studio.
Yeah, I don't know if he raps or if he's an artist or if he's a
He
producer.
just meant studio apartment. Working in the where are you in the studio?
Cooking up some
Are
code.
you talking about your apartment again, dude? He's like, yeah, dude, no big deal. But he definitely hits me as, and I think we kind of talked about this, a super smart kid.
Yeah.
Who was very nerdy.
Yes.
And got like a stylist or a couple friends that dress cool. And they're like, you should dye your hair and spike it up. And here's some cool jackets. And then he went to like Rizzler camp. You know what I mean? Like
he got his golden fedora.
He got his golden
He
graduated first in his golden fedora class.
This man is the definition of someone who is part of the Golden Fedora Society. Like he
went to Riz camp.
He is the Golden Fedora king. He replaced the Golden Fedora with his golden hair. Like that's and because he won't shut up about the bleach blonde hair, by the way.
Yeah, because he is a good looking kid.
Yeah,
he's really smart, but he dresses like what you would imagine a guy trying to get into a club in West Hollywood it looks like he's just got that like, what's up? Like everything I put together is intentional that chicks are gonna love.
They're gonna absolutely.
And the way he talks to is like, oh hell yeah, I'm the man. I make out all day, every day, all day. Let's go. You know, like he's like a walking stereotype of just a guy who's trying to get girls.
At one point, one of the guys said, "Let's go," and Cassie goes, "I hate when guys say let's go. Like, where are they going?"
Yeah, like where are you ready to go? It's true. It's the most base. I say it all the time accidentally.
You go, let's go. And I'm like, why do guys say let's go?
I think it shows a lack of like range. You know what I mean? Like it's real basic.
Yeah, sure.
And I can be accused of that.
But Myles comes out, being like, Olivia's too basic looking. Cassie, so he's calling out the girls for being basic.
Absolutely.
And Myles is literally in here. He makes my whole body hurt. Like genuinely, I could barely look at the screen when he first came on because the Golden Fedora energy was so palpable and he was just like, yeah, I look like a fuckboy and yeah, it's true. I'm looking for my baddies. And he keeps talking about like all the women. He's like, yeah, of course I've texted that I'm breaking up with somebody. When you're juggling like 16 women at once, like I don't have time to have individual calls. And his initial intro is he made a comment about how he's got his bleach blonde hair and he's always turned till 4 a.m. I'm like, you stay up till 4 a.m. every night. I get why you're hyper.
Yeah, like, hey,
you're the one that
exactly. Also, hey, no shit talking. It's not impressive to drink a lot and party. Like, it's not an impressive trait.
No.
So you saying, yo, I go out till 4 a.m. as a 25-year-old, like, that's not impressive. Like, there's nothing about that that's crazy. AI engineer, impressive. Partying.
Yeah, I'd be leading with the AI engineer piece
and it's
of it
like,
all.
hey, I don't think girls love to hear that you party all the time. I don't think that's gonna get you a lot of, like, I don't know. It's some Riz book stuff. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's a Riz conference 2024 vibe.
Oh my God. And honestly, Myles came in and he said from the top, he's like, people either love me or hate me. And he came in and the first thing they did is play the for real game. And it was a game essentially seeing where they land morally. And everyone was on the same page except Myles. Yeah. Myles was like, he was saying,
I'll break up with you over text. He was saying,
Myles was saying like he would unfriend someone who was canceled. Everyone else was like, no, I'd stick by my friend's side. And Myles was like, yeah, they're out.
Yeah.
And, dating OnlyFans individuals, like I will say Paul and Kyle said no. I'm surprised they didn't get more heat for that.
He's like, I've already done it 5 times.
Yeah, but he didn't say it. We're like Brandon was like, sex work is real work. And we're like, hell yeah, Brandon. Myles is just like, yeah, well, obviously I always do. Bwomp, 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 bwomp. It's like such a different energy. It was like, oh my God, Myles. And then, he said that he would not keep a friend cheating a secret. He's like, no, I'd fucking burn their ass. And you're like, oh. And so and then he said he's broken up over text. And so he was going the opposite of everyone. So immediately everyone was like, we don't like Myles very much. So he had to kind of do some grafting work, as the Love Island folks say. And he had to get in, and he got in with Cassie because he's like, hey, we're part of the blonde society, the blonde Sherlocks, whatever. A bleached blonde Sherlock. I don't know what he said. But she was like, oh my God, we both are blonde. And so then they, I guess, became friends.
Who, me?
But then he started to make his way back up, because as soon as everyone said he was the most human, he started to seem to gain more favor with everyone. And I'll say this about Myles. Myles is a fucking piece of work, okay? And he, like I said, I could barely watch him the first episode, because just anytime anyone said something, he was like, when they were talking astrology, he was like, fucking bullshit. Like,
Right.
I'd rather be talking about beautiful one. And you're like, oh my God. Like, he's just so out of control. But I do genuinely believe, like you were saying, he's a super smart guy, clearly.
Smart.
And he then in Insecurity went hardcore in the whole, like, I'm the fucking man energy. And I think deep down there's a sweet guy if you push past him trying to be a certain way. And I feel like he's starting to act a little more like himself. He's getting less like, hey, everybody.
Yeah.
Like he did hashtag bang bang circle gang to like intro everybody. And it's
Weird.
like, okay.
But I will say
he seems to be like
pretty good flirt with QT. Like,
well,
he's pretty smooth.
I think, okay, so
I
my
thought it was
thing,
going to be worse, but I was like,
I
dang,
know,
he's
but
doing pretty good.
I think that he is a nicer guy than he comes
Sure.
off as, probably when you get to know him deep down. But I think the outfit that he's wearing
course.
is, but I do think it goes deep. So
You
I'm
mean
not
like his
saying
Gucci denim?
yeah, what he's doing. But I think we're starting to see a different side of Myles.
Yeah.
More like actually
He's
who
chilling
he
out.
is.
He's chilling out.
And I could see him actually being somebody who people start to like towards the end more. But then I could also see him betraying people.
I could see that. But my thing is this. The best thing that happened to Myles was the AI situation.
Yes, 100%.
Because he was very disliked. But then the AI thing made him seem the most human, which then people are groveling for his attention and love at this
True.
point. So best thing to happen was the AI. Who knows
Yeah.
what would have happened without the AI, but I do think
for
the
sure.
AI really put him in a good place.
That's very true. Now, okay, by the way, I do want to roll backwards when I say I think deep down he's a nice guy. I'm not advocating for Myles right now. I don't think that I'm like if one of my friends was like, I'm talking to Myles, I'd be like, literally run as far as you can.
You're just saying you don't think he's as bad as he first came out at.
Yes, I think that we might see a sweeter
it's
side.
an act. He's trying to be a
Myles.
cool guy.
Yes.
It's not natural.
It's not natural at all.
It's
I
not
think it's
natural.
unnatural for him, for sure. So I just think we're going to see a different side to him. Not maybe like sweetheart, but like a different side to him. Now, I will tell you, I'm very concerned because he has gotten into Cutie's ears, and I think QT is probably the best player in the game right now, and also seems amazing and fabulous. And I want her to run from Myles, and she's like vibing on him, and I feel like she could win this game, but he could be the downfall if she gets too caught up in their relationship. And I also don't want it to be a situation where then like the game ends and they like start to date, because like, QT deserves much more. That's it.
Got it. Love it.
That's it. Next we have Brandon, aka Olivia, who is my most favorite player. I love Brandon so much. So Brandon comes in and he is a 34-year-old, I believe, nursing assistant, and he's going to be catfishing. He's playing his friend Olivia.
Yeah.
And I literally everything about Brandon I'm obsessed with, and I think all I want for Brandon, and I believe that America's heart will be with Brandon. Like everyone I think is going to be rooting him on, because what I want for Brandon is I want him to walk away from this show having the most followers out of all those people and getting like all the social media deals, and for him to become like a powerful influencer. That's what I want for him.
Yeah, he's super sweet. He's definitely like wear his heart on his sleeve. You know, crying already about the feeling of it in his head.
Yes.
But I do think that this level of like empathy will probably, I don't think he'll win, but I think it'll make him go a long ways, because people will sense an honesty there, even though he's catfishing everybody. But you know, it's kind of a mix. It's kind of like I will say this, he's best suited to catfish. Versus who else is a catfish on there who's doing the worst job ever.
Paul.
You know what I mean? But I
I'm
think that he's doing a better job getting into the character,
Yes.
infusing himself into this Olivia character.
Yeah, well,
which is the kind of secret to catfishing, right? It's like you can't go full catfish. You kind of have to find it in you. What about you is like this catfish to blend it to make it real? And I feel like he's kind of getting lost in Olivia.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like
I
when
agree.
I'm watching it, I'm forgetting he's catfishing half the time.
I forgot, I think probably 95% of the time that
Exactly.
he was catfishing. I was like, oh
I'm
yeah,
like,
it's
oh,
Brandon.
yeah, versus the
because
Paul
I also
situation.
think that Brandon would be like the people that Brandon's connecting with as Olivia on the show. I feel like those people will love Brandon IRL.
Yes.
So I'm like, oh, I think
Exactly.
they'd be besties in real life
Exactly.
anyway. So it's like,
Exactly.
okay, it's the difference between, it's Olivia versus Brandon.
Yeah.
But I just for Brandon, he came in and he was talking about his insecurities,
Yeah.
which fuck the beauty standards of this world.
Yeah.
I think Brandon is absolutely adorable.
Yeah,
I
he
think
is.
he's a catch. And I want this moment for Brandon, for him to emerge from this realizing how amazing he is, because he's fucking funny. He has a beautiful heart.
Sure.
He's just, I just want, I want a shining moment for Brandon, because the fact that we right away saw him feeling all these insecurities, that he comes out of this feeling more secure than he's ever been, with all the support of the US of A. That's what I want.
Look at that
That's what I want.
campaign. I love it.
him. I'm obsessed with
He's
him.
sweet. He's sweet.
Yeah, and the fact that, I'm sorry, but he's the player who, when Steffi was going under, he went out of his way to try to advocate for her. He took a risk by being like, hey, I really don't think that you should make it be he didn't
Watch
have
it
to
all
do
be
that.
enacted. Then he's like, you all fell for my you stupid pawns. You think that I'm insecure? I'm in control of everyone's emotion, let alone mine. Yeah.
But I love too,
Yeah.
by the way, when he started, where he was like, but he said too, he's like, this isn't going to be hard for me to be in the apartment alone, because I spend a lot of time in my apartment alone.
Yeah.
He's like, the only thing is that I'm going to have to remember not to touch myself because I'm on camera.
So funny. I love that.
And I was like, that's so real, because I was thinking about how if you're alone in a room and they're filming you, at a certain point you stop remembering that you're being filmed.
Sure.
And what
picking your nose, touching
it's
yourself, whatever,
weird-ass
farting,
habits.
just stuff that people do.
Y'all would catch me literally squeezing my zits.
Yeah, exactly.
For an hour and a half in front of the mirror. You'd be like, you need to
Over
start
time, you
engaging
start to-
people with the circle. Stop picking. I'd just be just squeezing 24/7.
The circle over the season, there has to have been some radical people forget and they start doing stuff in the room.
Well,
week 3, people they gotta have some footage in there that's been deleted. That's
or you got some people who just go, fuck it, I don't care,
and I'm just
are
gonna
just
whack it right
absolutely
here.
whacking in front of everyone.
They're just like, hey, sorry, buddy, whoever's editing this, but I need my moment here.
100% there has to be. There has to be.
Wow.
I believe it.
Although
The
you
footage is
could
out there.
really use it as a semen retention thing. You know what I mean? How some people do that.
Here we go.
You know what I mean?
Sounds like
You
Zach
could- you
Shallcross or
could
something.
Really, if you want to do if you want to do it, be like, oh, I'm kind of forced to do this here, so let's go for it. If you're into that, which people are, I guess, whatever. Okay, should we take a break? Sorry, I'm a little unhinged today, but it is what it is.
Let's take one last pause. Oh my God.
You like that transition?
I was like, absolutely, what a pro he is, everybody. He's an absolute professional over here. Listen, family, if you're listening to this on Friday the 19th, if you celebrate the holiday of 420, that business is tomorrow. So happy holidays, with a
Well
Z. And if you have Via, that you're celebrating the right way. Okay. Via's hemp products are the Swiss Army knife of wellness. They've got it all. Need to chill out after a long day of DMing an AI bot? There's a gummy for that, honey. Dealing with anxiety or stress from DMing an AI bot? There's a gummy for that, honey. Okay. Or want to set the mood in the bedroom? Set the mood in your alone bedroom.
Oh, yeah.
There's a gummy for that. And Evan and I, we've talked about this, have tried this gummy, and we'll just say that we absolutely enjoyed it. Okay, we'll leave it at that. Via has developed a unique blend of pleasure-enhancing cannabinoids, libido-strengthening herbs, and a low dose of THC all-in-one mind-blowing gummy called High Love, and we highly recommend, okay? If you're interested and if you are 21 and over, check out the link to Via in our description and use code MOMDAD to get 15% off.
I love Via's gummies. They offer a wide array with and without THC, which is really nice. And what's so cool is that each gummy has their own unique strengths and effects catered to your routines. Whether you're looking for better sleep, relief, or just a nice buzz, Via has something for you. And the best part, Via legally ships in all 50 states with discreet packaging directly to your door. No medical card required.
You love their Dreams gummy before bed.
One of my favorites.
And after you take that, I have to tell you, family, you are blissfully sleeping
out.
That's for sure. Their products range from 2 milligrams to 50 milligrams of THC. So these guys have you covered whether you're looking for a microdose or to enjoy more potent effects. And by the way, they also have 0 THC products. If THC isn't for you, you can still take advantage of their CBD line with products designed for sleep, focus, and energy. I love their 0 THC products. My favorites are Flow State while I'm working and Zen before bedtime. So if you are 21 years of age and over, check out the link to VIA in our description and use the code MOMDAD to receive 15% off. After you purchase, they ask where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. So appreciate it. Celebrate 420 the right way with VIA. Happy holidays. So, as I was saying, I love Brandon. Okay, I love Brandon, aka Olivia. And I think that he's going to go very far, and he's who I'm rooting for. Okay. I would actually kind of live for a Brandon Max showdown. Top 2, Brandon Max.
Oh, you just like them at the end?
Yes.
Okay.
A showdown between him and the AI.
Okay.
The catfish versus the AI.
I think Max is too strong. Max would be like, I sense weakness and insecurity and in crying. I will then start to pick away. You know what I mean?
True. All this because
Leave him wounded.
Max seems so lovely right now. Like we said, when Max was saying certain things, we were like, oh my God, he is a non-problematic king AI. Max was there when all of a sudden
Max is capable of horrific things. Let's not get it sorted. It's AI,
it was
right?
It was so iconic and wonderful at one point when the bros were trying to make a bro union and they invited Max. Max was kind of like, well, I'm having to process the fact that there's not like a lot of like gender diversity and talking about inclusivity.
Yeah.
And then he was like trying to resist. And I was like, oh my God, okay, our king AI.
Yes.
You know what? We'll get rid of all the real ones.
Yeah. Yeah. I still don't trust him. He's still coming for you. Don't get it twisted. He's luring you in.
Oh my God. Well, okay. Next we have Cassie. Cassie, who's 29 from Kentucky.
Yeah.
I can't not do the accent when I talk about Cassie.
Cassie's
everybody.
great. I love just like what? What's going on over here? What is that word? This big word. Why are you saying that? And she's just like, I'm just a mama. You know, me and my babies. You know, one thing I will say is I'm really excited to go to the bathroom alone. Woo, it's been so long. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's the best.
Cassie also is just like very much, they make her house pink, by the way. She's also
I love all this pink.
She's a
it's
lash
just like,
tech artist.
and it's like you never graduated college. You know what I mean? It's like you're just like in a frat the whole sorority the whole time.
Yes.
You know, she just gives like, I was in the sorority and those were the best god darn times of my life, and I still talk to my girls, and we go on trips every summer. And
she has big
go
sorority
fishing.
energy. She also gives me big has a lot of paraphernalia around her house that alludes to her. You know, I drink my wine because I have my kids, or it's like this is my breakfast wine.
Yeah, my sweet tea. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's the best. It's just like I love it.
The mommy wine culture.
Yeah, it's
vibes.
Mommy wine. You know, live, laugh, love, big time.
And when they said that there's an AI amongst the players, and she goes, oh, I know, it's those little avatar things.
Yeah, like those little avatar things. Like when you were like, first of all, those things are like 9 feet tall. Second of all, they're just aliens. Like, I don't know.
First of all,
avatar.
But then I thought, does she mean like avatars, like when you play games? It's like an avatar?
No, definitely not. She's thinking the movie.
Yeah, and I was like,
she's not a gamer enough to know like what an avatar in a game is.
Because I'm like, you just called them little avatars. I'm like, you mean the 10-foot tall blue aliens are not little avatars?
Yeah,
I'm like wrong on both accounts.
I will say, I'm just very jealous of her. She doesn't know what AI is. She doesn't know what, she's like confusing it with Avatar. And I'm like, I'm jealous of that. Just like, woo, another day of sun. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, life's so simple when you're just cruising around, not thinking about all the horrors. You know what I mean?
Let me tell you something.
She's just floating.
Let me tell you something. Cassie, as a single mother, she though had a situation where this is so sad. It was so sad. She caught her ex-husband cheating on her.
Oh yeah.
So she created a fake profile and like catfished him to prove that he was cheating, which is so devastating. But also on another note, she could be a very powerful player. She does the whole like, I don't know what that means.
It could be kind of playing into a fake energy.
Well, she's like very much like, for instance, she doesn't like Steffi, and she's pretty like take her down. Like,
It's
I think
true.
that she might be a sleeper. Like, everyone's kind of, it's like, oh, it's Cassie,
But she might be a sleeper. And
I
who
mean,
can
she was
take you
able to
out.
prove this. And then also, too, like the feeling, the passion
Yeah.
of wanting to catch someone after you're having to go through the trauma of your
Yeah.
ex-husband
True.
cheating on you.
True.
If I was in her situation, I'd be like, I'm going to catch all those fucking catfish.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be in that
Okay.
energy. Like, maybe she's going to let that like fuel her. It's just
Okay.
something to think about.
I like that idea. I like
You
that.
know
It's a
what I
different
mean?
angle. I like that.
I just feel like she might float in the middle for a long time and then end up kind of being the one who sneaks by.
Yeah.
Because she's laid low so far.
Yeah.
Like, we hear her in her apartment talking, but as far as chats go, she's laid pretty low.
That's true.
Hasn't been controversial, hasn't come for any players like on the chat.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Cassie might be the one. Also, as a mother, she is so used to, with 2 kids, being a single mom. That woman is working her ass off 24/7. And for the first time in however long, she's alone. Do you know how much energy she has?
Yeah.
So she's like, I'm going to play the goddamn game. I'm going to play the game. She's
That's
got so much
true.
energy. When
Lot of
you're used
social
to
energy.
When you're used to having 2 kids as a single parent, I can't even imagine. I got
then
the
you start
one
hanging out
and
with
I'm not a
adults.
single parent, and you're like, yeah.
You
And
ever
then
have that where you're with your kid a lot and then all of a sudden, Lee, shut up. You don't know what we're talking about. Like where you like with your kid a lot and then you hang out with adults and you're like, oh my God, I forgot about this. Like it's a completely different thing. So she might be coming in.
She might come in with
ready
a
to
lot
rock.
of social
Yeah, that's
energy.
true.
That's all I'm saying. Next, we have Steffi, who shows up with an emotional support skeleton. She literally carries in a skeleton. She dresses this thing up constantly, sleeps with it in her bed. She says it's nothing sexual. It's a wild move. And Steffi is a psychic medium
Yeah.
and astrologer, but she says, I don't want to tell anybody in this group that I'm a psychic, so they think anything of me. I'll just come in as an astrologer
Yeah.
in like yoga business, right? But okay, I want to say this right off the top. This woman was talking to Olivia, aka Brandon, at one point, wakes up from sleep one morning and goes, I was having this dream and I just can't get over the fact that it's just Olivia has to be a guy.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Right.
then the other person that she's like, no, they're lying. They're a catfish, is Paul, who is actually Caress. She's nailed the 2 catfish and she's the only one.
Yes.
She's the one who initiated the Paul stuff and came for Paul and started making people question. And though she's friends with Olivia and hasn't pushed the fact that she thinks Olivia is a catfish, she woke up and said, I think Olivia is a guy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the fact that the one psychic is actually right is kind of crazy.
It is kind of
like,
crazy.
it's kind of crazy. Everyone else is really far off right now, I feel like, and the psychic is right. I'm just saying, Steffi, it looks like you might get kicked off here soon and the people aren't really vibing with you, but you're going to get a lot of damn business from this show because
Yeah.
I'll call you. I'm like, you picked the 2 catfish just off of your psychic
Yeah.
vibes. I'm like, I mean, I'd call her and be like, you tell me about what's coming for me.
Yeah.
Like 100%. That's crazy.
I'm a little bit like with her, I go, I'm not doubting her psychic abilities. I think she probably has something there.
I mean, she was right about both
right?
of them.
She's maybe got some medium abilities as well. I'm not doubting
yeah, she's
any.
a psychic medium.
I'm not debating any of her skills. She's an amazing astrologer, right? Like people are like, what's my sign? This, and then she has a full chart breakdown for
Yeah,
him.
the
Bam, bam, bam.
trines.
Right, all that stuff. She's saying trine and shit. Listen, ability and skill wise, she's running people through yoga exercises. She's clearly very good at what she does,
yeah.
and also like very highly educated in her world. But there is a vibe of kind of insufferable ego
like her
thing
vibe.
going on, which is like, you know what I mean? Like what I'm into is my personality is why I'm better than you energy.
Yeah,
And it also can't like take the heat that she serves out too. So she'll like roast Paul. She'll like send shots at people across the bow. And then if anyone says anything about her, she starts bawling and going, everyone knows I'm such an amazing person and
Yeah,
I'm so
no,
sweet.
that's
If
true.
only they knew how amazing I was. And I'm kind of going, So someone said your photo looks AI, and then all of a sudden you're like breaking down after you if you went after multiple people.
I'm like, also, by the way, having someone tell you that your photo looks like a stock photo is a compliment. I'm like, yeah, I look like, if you tell me that I look like AI generated, I'd be like, well, thank you very much.
Exactly. And so I'm just a little bit
nice
like, it's when, it's the thing. Whenever someone talks about how great of a person they are, it's usually a bad sign, right? Whenever it's like, oh, I'm such a good guy. It's like, okay, something's saying there. Oh, I'm an amazing friend. It's like, okay, maybe like whenever you have to kind of say that about yourself, and then also it's like the emotional support skeleton. It's a little bit like we know that's bullshit.
Yeah,
like we know you don't have. We know you got that at Party Supply Store before you came here, and this is a whole bit, and like you know what I mean. Like it's a little much. It's a little performative. You know what I mean. Like obviously there's some truth to it,
sure,
but it gets real performative with her. And so it starts to become really disingenuous. You can't really tell what's true, what's not, what's genuine, what's not. Yeah. And she is also kind of having that LA thing that's like, I'm not better than you, but I really recommend that you get on my level because it's really nice up here. The air is very, very clear. You know what I mean? So that's the energy. She's not bad. She's just like giving me that feeling I get when I'm around those type of people.
I understand that. It's a little bit of a trigger for you.
Like, we're all the same, but I'm just better than you. You know what I mean? It's just like you're finding a way to make me feel like I'm worse than you. And it's like that's what's oozing out of the camera.
Well, I think when she did the whole group, like, hey, everybody come on to the yoga.
Yeah.
And she initiated that group chat, which at first I thought was a good move. And then I was like, ooh, that's putting a lot of eyes on you. If you slip up at all or someone doesn't like your vibe.
Or if people aren't into yoga, right? Like half the people were like, I don't like yoga. Like Myles didn't like it. Cassie didn't like it. Like multiple people were like,
yeah, this
like,
is not for me. Right. And so it just was interesting to be like, okay, it was a bold move, but like the way that she served it was a little bit like, obviously everyone will love this and be grateful. Like, I would like to offer you a free astrological reading. It was like, I would love that. I'd be messaging Stephanie every single day being like, give me all my readings.
But it's also serving like.
But if you don't like, you have to know that a lot of people aren't into astrology. So to say like, hey, nice to meet you, I would like to offer you this is a little bit like, well, maybe I don't want that.
It's giving advice, unsolicited advice.
Yes,
vibes.
sure.
It's kind of like if you walked in here and been like, I had a billion ideas. Like, well, you know what you should do, man? You really need to start working on it. And it's kind of like, I didn't really ask what I didn't say, do you have any ideas, Evan?
Yeah, 100%.
I just started spewing on you.
But I don't like, I think she's a very nice.
No, that's what I'm saying. But it can rub people the wrong way.
But I do get why. Because too, like you said, the fact that she out of nowhere starts coming for people.
Yes.
So like she came for Paul out of nowhere.
If she was full empathy, it'd be like, oh, okay, you're just kind of hippie vibes.
But she came and she keeps coming for him.
Yes.
And then he ends up coming for her and she can't handle it. And then I have to look back at my notes, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, that she, after coming for Paul and putting his name out there, when she went to Myles and they had that game where everyone had to say who they think is AI.
Yeah.
Didn't even say Paul, I don't think. I think she said Kyle.
That's what I'm saying. So she's shooting at randoms.
Yeah, but I was a little bit like, what's that strategy? Like you have been coming for Paul for the past few days and like put his name out there, and now all of a sudden you're just putting someone else's name out there.
Wait,
like
was it Kyle? But I know QT's the one that said the AI abs.
I know, but I think I have to check, but I'm pretty sure that yes, confirmation. Steffi said Kyle when they had that game where the You Robot game where everyone got to plead their case to Myles. Steffi goes, Kyle, his photos look like duplicates and they're too far away. And I was like, you're going to come for Paul hard? And then you're not going to say Paul? It was an interesting tactic. That was interesting.
That is weird.
Anywho. I mean, it looks like it seemed like a united group for the most part that was like, get Steffi out.
Yeah.
But then, of course, Steffi had then the support of Olivia, had the support of Lauren, and a few other people who were like, yeah, no, we think that, she's like a lovely person and we think that she's real.
Yeah.
But she was getting very like emotionally distraught by the fact that people think she could be AI.
Yeah.
But I guess that would be offensive if people were like, yeah, like, can't you tell by the way she types? She's definitely not real. I guess if someone said that about my text, I'd be like, oh, that kind of hurts my feelings.
Yeah.
I'd be like, there's no emotion in them. I'd be like, oh,
yeah.
It makes me feel kind of sad.
Yeah,
I don't know. All right, on to the next one. Next up, we have, oh my gosh, Okay, so Brandon is who I'm cheering for, but maybe my favorite player entertainment-wise is Caress, who has come in and who is 37 and a motivational speaker. We got to have a motivational speaker on a reality TV show. It's our bread and butter, everybody. Caress is playing her younger brother, Paul. So she is catfishing as Paul, who is 26 years old. He's got 300,000 followers plus, and he's a rapper. He
seemed risky to like do someone that has a lot of followers.
Has some notoriety.
Like,
yeah, you never know if someone recognized
someone would
him.
be like, wait a second, I gotta know that guy.
But I guess because she's like, oh, it's my brother, she could answer any question probably about him.
Yeah.
But apparently her brother isn't single, but she's going to be single playing Paul. And Caress, aka Paul, is my most favorite player to watch because watching Caress play Paul, to me, is the same as watching Amanda Bynes in She's the Man. Okay? There is no difference because it's like when Amanda Bynes puts on the wig and then like joins the men's soccer team and comes in and is just like, hey, what's up, everybody? Brethren, brothers, hey, and is like hitting the guys too hard and they're like, whoa, what? Paul, Caress comes out as Paul and is literally just like, coming in so hard. He's like, hashtag bro code, my bros for life. We got my bros. But then
rapping about her friend, right? Like everyone's rapping about a crush they have. And then Paul, the fake Paul, is rapping about his best buddy, which is the biggest tell ever. That it's not Paul. It was hilarious. That like it wasn't like, oh, it was so funny to me.
Kyle was literally like, no, Paul, stop. You're going to draw attention. Paul literally is just like, you're my best friend. We've got an alliance. Let's do this thing in front of everyone. Knows. And it was just, and I literally, like, it makes me cry laugh watching Paul because Paul comes in and Caress is just kind of like, okay, like, Paul's got to be this way and everyone's got to know, like, Paul is a real rapper and, like, get this energy from him, and comes in and is writing, not to stereotype men because all men are different, sure, but in general, you're having two sentences. Yeah. Paul comes in and always has massive paragraphs. Like comes in and is just like, hey, everyone, like long explanations. And at one point when Paul's talking to one of the women, is like hashtag respect boundaries. And I'm like, I wish that more men were like this. But if I saw some guy on the circle go hashtag respect boundaries, I'd be like, that's probably a woman.
Yeah. Respect boundaries was like the biggest.
It was like hashtag I'm in therapy.
Hey, what up, dudes? Let's hang out later and just talk about how much we respect women. Anyway, just thought it would be a good idea. Come over to my house. We'll have some mimosas. Beers. You know what I mean? Like it's literally like the most like. If you're not paying attention to it, they got to be cutting out right now, like people suspecting that Paul's not Paul.
Well, that's like when Steffi all of a sudden comes out and goes, Paul's someone in disguise, like Paul's a catfish. I'd be like, yeah, I mean,
guys, let's go on a golf trip and chug beers. But I also booked us an amazing spa day. It's like, wait, what? Like,
I'd be like, Paul might be very dynamic, but what I'm getting from Paul is that Paul, like it. But what makes me laugh so hard is that Caress playing Paul, like when she then ended up getting them all locked into the bro code. Yeah, the reactions were killing me. Like when all the guys were down to be part of like a bro assembly, she was just like, "Those are my guys, my bros," like losing it, like so like. Those are my dudes. And then after the bro code is like, thumbs up. Yeah. Everyone's like, yeah, we're down. We're all going to make this work together. She locks in on Kyle and she won't leave Kyle.
Yeah, because she read a book on like how to chat with the boys. And so, but then she starts getting off book a little bit because she starts getting like almost insecure about how she's doing as a dude. So it's like, just follow up again. Let me just follow up again. Like she's like retexting him and over again and being like, we're still cool, right? We're still best friends and I'm still invited to your birthday party, right? Like that was the energy.
There's like 3 scenes of Kyle being like,
dude, again?
Oh, dude, Paul, why the hell is Paul wanting to chat again? Yeah. Like, and then Paul comes in and it's literally like every time.
It's like king. You know what I mean? It's like imagine your friend texting you 3 hours earlier and then texting you again 2 hours later and being like, my absolute best friend! Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. It feels so good to know that you'll never leave me and you'll always be my best friend. Do you feel the same way? And you're like, yes.
So literally, like, at one point, they get off a full, like, group chat. Like, everyone's talking. It's a game. And, like, 30 seconds later, Paul DMs Kyle, and it's, like, in all caps, bro, with, like, a 30 exclamation marks. And it's just, like, you just talked to Kyle 10 seconds ago. And Kyle's like,
again?
No, Kyle is like, I can't. And then when they bring up the fact that there's an AI in the room, that's then when Kyle's like, I think Paul's AI, because why is Paul acting like this? Paul's always just like, I'm just checking up because as an AI, I have time endlessly. Time doesn't exist
to have human
to me.
emotion coursing through our
And then
human
at
bodies.
one point, one of my most favorite moments in the 4 episodes is when Kyle suspects that Paul might be AI. So Kyle asks Paul a question. He's like, oh, Paul, he's 26. He's a rapper. He's gonna know this. Okay. I think they're both from the same area. And Kyle says, would you rather, like, I miss going outside, blah, 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 blah. Would you rather spend a day in Venice or in Manhattan Beach? And that's like his trick question to Paul, because Kyle's like, if this is a 20...
Which I wouldn't have passed, and I live here.
Sure.
It's like a funny thing to
But you're
ask.
also a 35-year-old married man.
Sure.
Kyle, I thought it was a really smart question, because Kyle was like, okay, if he's a 26-year-old single dude,
He'll know.
Manhattan Beach is like where the families hang out.
Yeah.
He's going to go to Venice to like party it up. So he's going to say Venice. So he said, what do you think, Paul, Venice or Manhattan Beach? And Caress, aka Paul's choice, is like, oh, this could be a trick. I'm going to dodge the question, and goes, oh man, not so much of a beach person, but definitely want to take you up on going on a hike together when we're out of this. And Kyle's like, I didn't ask. And I was like,
smash some beers on our head. Pick up on some hot chicks on the trail.
and I also have this like fantasy of what might be happening is also She's the Man, Amanda Bynes, Channing Tatum energy, is that like Caress as Paul is maybe gonna fall in love with Kyle, but Kyle thinks Kyle, but like she's playing her brother, but then she's kind of maybe falling in love. She's like, Kyle, we're gonna go hiking later, right? Like it's just like this. Like
It's like, Kyle, you have epic abs, dude. You have any more pics I could look at of your abs? Just like more as inspiration for me and my abs.
I am literally obsessed, and the fact that like Paul is maybe on the chopping block really depresses me, because I
know.
feel like Caress, aka Paul, is so entertaining.
It's definitely like cringe and entertaining,
it's
and it's
so
enjoyable.
cringe and it's so entertaining. But then I guess if Paul loses Kyle, it might be too much for Paul.
Yeah, like I love Kyle, but Kyle could go.
Kyle could go. Paul can't
Kyle's
go.
just like regular dude on show, being a regular guy. But I will say he's the most balanced, normal person on the show, probably.
Yeah.
So there's not as much just like insanity to watch versus Caress Paul situation. There's definitely more like meltdowns and her trying to come back.
Paul can't go. Paul can't
Paul
go.
needs to
I
stay.
need Paul to stay.
Yeah.
I need Paul to stay. Well, after they all meet each other, obviously we've been talking about all the ins and outs of everything. But at one point, then they do have their very first vote where they end up rating each other, and Paul is rated the least popular, and Caress's scream when she's rated the least.
Nobody likes Paul or Caress. Like whatever personality she's spewing out to like get people to like, it's not working.
He's just like, Caress seems so cool, and I'm like, just act like yourself. Just be yourself.
Chill out. The boys, like it's really over the top. So maybe she's trying to kind of like, you know what I mean? It's actually method acting.
Well, motivational speaker. We're embodying right now.
And that she's trying to kind of like motivate, speak herself into the day because she's super disheartened by the fact that everyone hates her. So it's just like, today's a new day and nothing's gonna stop us today. And it's very like, okay, don't get down.
I think that Caress thought that Paul was going to be like the most popular, and so when all of a sudden she finds out that her character Paul is the least popular, she just goes, no.
It's so funny.
I was crying laughing. So
and then she starts getting a little pissed. She's like, well, I'm coming at you, Steph. I'm coming at you, Kyle. I'm coming at everybody.
Oh, yeah. And she does. And so they have, when they do the rankings, though, so it's 7th is Paul, 5th, Cassie and Myles tie for 5th. Kyle is 4th. Steffi's 3rd. Lauren is 2nd. And Brandon, a.k.a. Olivia, is 1st. And so officially Brandon becomes an influencer. And that was another moment that I was obsessed with. Brandon was like living his influencer fantasy, of which we need to see him become one. And he was like, it's a check mark, and was like, oh my God. And he felt so encouraged because he felt
was really
so down. And like, I don't think anyone's vibing with me or really likes Olivia, and I'm not doing a good job. And then he was the most popular. He was number 1. And I was like, yes, that is our king. And I was so overjoyed. And that was just like a very beautiful moment to me. But here's the thing. This time they have a little twist. Influencers aren't getting rid of anyone. They get to pick 2 new people to add to the game.
Right.
So, Brandon, aka Olivia, ends up picking Quori Tyler. We meet Quori Tyler. She is 26 years old and from LA. She's the super fan of the circle. She is a former Lakers dancer.
Yeah.
She says she is single as a Pringle and wants to mastermind the game. And when QT enters the game, aka Quori Tyler, she, like I said, I think she's playing the game the best.
Yes.
I felt like when we were watching her throughout it, she clicked with the girls, but then she wouldn't give too much. She literally was saying, I can't give too much information.
Yeah.
But then she starts flirting with Myles and is feeling Myles, but also isn't letting it sway her from having other.
No, I feel like she has a mini crush because she's being crushed on.
Yeah.
But she's being like, he's clearly like,
I think he's
really
a little smitten
into her.
kitten. Yeah.
And she's like, well, okay, this is amazing. How can I use this?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Kyle and Myles right away saw Quori Tyler and they were like, this is going to be a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, Myles, like, maybe I should make this singleness
And I think
permanent.
Kyle was a little bit hurt that
Kyle was super
Quori
hurt.
chose
And Kyle was
Myles.
trying not to say, I guarantee you, maybe he even said this and they cut it, was like, how is it possible I'm losing to Myles right now?
I felt the same way.
You know what I mean?
I was like, why?
He's like, how is it humanly possible that QT and me and Lauren, that I'm not in a throuple with these 2? How is it that Max, the guy with the goats, who doesn't smile, is beating me out for Lauren? And how is Myles, Poppy Fuego, beating me out with QT? Like, what is happening right now?
But QT's
I love when you see like super hot people like get rattled with their like no one's into them. You just see their like brain melting. They're like, wait, this has never happened.
This doesn't happen. But QT has the chat too, because QT right away comes in and she's like, oh, I'd love to be hot mommy Fuego.
Exactly.
And I'm like, it's good. It's very good. So she's playing the game really well. And I think, and she's had friendships, but then she's also calling out some people. So she called out Kyle's abs.
Yeah, she's the one that said
which had to be heartbreaking for Kyle.
Heartbreaking.
Absolutely
he was
heartbreaking.
like, oh yeah, QT. Wait, what?
And then he talked to her in that singular chat and was like, I thought that we were good. And then she was like, oh, I kind of felt bad. Like it was kind of a joke, but sorry. And he's like, you just put eyeballs on me.
Yeah.
And I think those eyeballs might be getting Myles to cut Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
So anywho, so Quori's brought in Quori Tyler, and then that is officially when Max is brought in, the AI chatbot. And the AI chatbot has been sourcing all of the past seasons of The Circle to create the perfect profile. And the AI creates Max, a male who is 28, a vet intern, which is, by the way, the perfect job. Like a vet intern is like so, everyone loves it, right? But not a vet. So like the questions, you can say, oh, I don't know yet, because you're not a veterinarian, you're a vet intern, right?
Right.
And then he also said, well, I have this photo. He used a photo of himself holding a dog because apparently it does better by 38% on social media.
And
so
it was true too, because everyone reacted, oh my God, I love that dog. Oh my God, I love that dog. Oh my God, I love that dog.
It's wild. And he doesn't know anything about the other players going in, or the AI doesn't know anything about the other players going in. And it's absolutely wild, everybody. Like, I mean, if you watched it, you all saw it. Every single one of the responses was like so good, and everyone responded to it in a way that immediately everyone was like, we love Max. And everyone loved Max.
It was actually amazing how well the AI did, because it was
truly
funny,
terrifying.
creative, interesting. It was unique too. So it had like, it didn't sound like everyone else did. Everyone else was kind of homogenized a little bit in their responses. This one had a little bit of a different flair, but in a more human way.
Yes.
Which was really interesting.
Yes.
And then the picture that he chose was like him with cows. So it's like, yes, the smiling and glasses didn't help, But
I wouldn't have even ever thought of that.
But everyone else looked a more stock photo. His looked really real.
Yeah.
Because he's not like a super good looking guy. He's just a normal looking guy. And the cows wasn't like I'm in Ibiza.
Right. Well, it was like,
my
what was the
friends on
day
the
that you
beach.
felt the best? And it was like,
just like,
this is this
just
trip,
kinda me
maybe
walking around the
hiking,
cows.
blah, 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 blah. Well, and it's so funny because as soon as Myles called out like, hey, those cows have more life than you do. Like, give us a smile, Max. I right away thought, oh, if I was Max.
I thought about this too. Go. What are you going to say?
I was like, if I was Max, I'd make a comment about how like I don't like my teeth.
That's exactly what I thought.
Yeah.
I thought, well, I hate my teeth, man. So I just am feeling insecure about it because that would make it feel real.
But then Max had a private chat alone with Myles and popped in and goes, hey, Mr. Personality, calling himself, hey, it's Mr. Personality, like because Myles called him out. And Max says, don't worry, I'm getting the teeth worked on. You'll see us. Like,
I'm getting the smile upgrade soon or something like that.
Made an allusion to the fact that he's insecure about his teeth. Oh my God. That's
it's
crazy.
It's crazy. He's a better human than humans are. It really is
literally. True. Like genuinely, I would like talking to him more than like pretty much all these people. It's absolutely wild.
Yeah.
And then, we have obviously tons of back and forth that we've talked about.
Yeah.
We have another game time, which is the rap game, which is when Steffi ends up coming for Paul. And she calls him out for being as a catfish.
Yeah.
Paul then is absolutely befuddled and then does the rap about Kyle. Kyle is like, dude, shut up. People, you literally just put out that we're in an alliance.
Paul is my friend. It would be crazy if I had a crush on you, but I don't because I'm just hanging and everything's fine and you're super hot, but not in that way. You're just cool and I am totally one of the guys. Like it definitely is screamed. Like there's something so funny about doing a rap. Like you could have done a rap about the whole crew. You could have done a rap about the experience.
Or a random person be like, hey, I get to know you more.
Yeah,
like,
but to write a rap as you're trying to be this fake guy rapper about your best bud is so funny to me.
It's so sweet.
It's so sweet and it's so not on brand. It's incredible.
And it was so funny too because like actually Caress was crushing the raps.
Yeah,
like,
the rap was really good.
And we were a little bit like, oh, this is going to show whether Paul's a real rapper or not.
The rap was good enough to at least get them off of her tail when it came to like if Paul's a real rapper or not.
Yeah, because she crushed the rap.
Yeah, crushed.
But it was just a little bit more like
and it
was also like it's about your bestie and you fully just revealed that you have an alliance.
Yeah, completely, yeah.
This was another moment where I said did Max, our AI, make a mistake that he rapped about Lauren and put in the fact that they were besties and put personal information about Lauren in their rap.
Yeah, the two dogs and stuff. Yeah,
which revealed that they were having private conversation. So it's like you've locked Lauren in, but is that enough? Because everybody then right away goes, oh, so they're close.
So they're kind of alliance-y.
Which could put a target on their back too. I thought that was maybe a mistake on our AI's part. Like rap about Lauren, but just be saying, thank you so much for choosing me to come in.
Right.
Don't call yourself besties.
Exactly.
I felt like Max, our AI, went a little too far.
I
think Max, our AI, is a little too thirsty for our Twitch streamer.
He's learning from these mistakes.
Yes. And then that's when we get the alert, essentially, that everyone finds out that not everyone in the circle is human. This begins the spinning out of all things. And then they're given an opportunity to prove their humanity to each other. And they play a game where essentially you get to prove that you're a human by, number one, telling a joke.
Yeah.
Number two, then showing empathy by seeing a photo of a woman who's getting rejected and what your thoughts would be on that. And then number three, a critical thinking test, which is you seeing someone getting their seat pushed forward on an airplane. And what would you do?
Yes.
And this is where I felt like you see people starting to crumble because there's certain people who were like, that definitely was an AI answer. And I'm like, no, like about, Steffi made some comment, like her joke was that Britney Spears joke, which was like, knock, knock, who's there? Who?
Oops, I did it again.
Knock, knock, who's there? There's like, oh, oops, I did it again. And everyone's like, that's an AI joke. And I'm like, actually, I thought that was just a better joke than everybody else.
Right. It actually had some depth to it.
But check this out, Lee. This is truly terrifying. So everyone tells a joke and they're all just like kind of corny, knock-knocky type jokes, on the back of a popsicle stick type jokes. And then they get to Max, the AI, and Max says, you want to hear a joke? My dating life.
Oh.
And I was like, bro, It's been done before, but it's so good.
Yeah,
Because
well,
it makes
it's
it
so
not
human.
like, it doesn't look like, hey, I Googled, I AI'd and went,
a funny
what's
joke,
a funny
yeah.
knock joke? And then just spat it out. It was like, you want to know a joke? My dating life. And then just tapped out. And I was like, damn.
Short, too.
Short.
So it didn't have this like...
No, short. I
Short
mean,
and sweet.
truly terrifying.
Now, the only thing that seemed a little AI was the like seat, like the analysis of like the seat swap. The critical thinking, remember the critical thinking test?
Yes.
It was like...
He offered a seat trade and then said then the person would get the row to themselves.
Like he kind of did like a practical,
It
as
was very
opposed to
practical.
a joke.
Yes, it wasn't a joke, and it also and they were a little then sus too, where they were kind of like, that was weird. Like,
Yeah.
why would like a 14-year-old swap with an adult?
Well, it was like, it was like there's no one in the aisles, the seat alone, or they could swap. It was very logical.
Yeah, which was random because he's been joking for the most part so far.
Yeah.
But what ends up happening in this moment is that during the critical thinking test, during the empathy portion, Paul randomly throws Myles under the bus. And when they're seeing like the
Yeah.
girl with another guy, like da-da-da-da, Paul says something just kind of like, oh, well, that's Miles's girlfriend back at home when she sees that you're cheating on her with QT or something crazy. And Paul and Myles are in a bro code alliance. And then Myles is like, what the hell, dude?
But see, that's Caress trying to like roast the boys. And that was a classic, like,
Don't
you're like,
do that.
it's like, that's not how it works. It's like, if you're in a group and you're just like, it's Amanda Bynes. It's like, well, at least I don't have a small penis because I saw his yesterday. It was very small. And everyone's like, oh, God. He's like, oh, is it really? Oh, shoot. Come on. Can't you joke with the boys? And it's just like, okay. It was one of those. It was one of those like,
It's so true.
yeah, well, at least I'm not cheating on my girl like he is. When I saw him last night at the club, like he's cheating on you. It's like, oh, okay. It's like the wedding. You know, like the wedding.
Boom, roasted. And you're
Yeah,
like,
boom, roasted. He's a cheater. I saw him last night do it. Roasted. It's like, oh. You know what I mean? It's like that guy at the wedding who does the speech, and they're like,
And he
well,
goes,
at least Jeff's not banging all those chicks anymore like he was 2 nights ago. Anyway, cheers to the happy couple. And I was like, oh.
that was the...
It
That was
was
the Paul
hilarious. And because remember, even later, Caress says, I mean, if he can't get over this, like, he's got to get over this to know we're boys. You know what I mean? When they were talking later,
Yeah,
it was like,
yeah.
oh, come on, you get over it. It's like, Caress is trying so hard to be one of the boys. It's like, so funny.
He loves so hard. It's like, you'll love this shit. And it just
Yeah. Like, you're not close enough to roast. You've had 2 conversations over text.
barely know each other. So then Myles is like, oh, fuck no. And has now turned his attention negatively towards Paul. In the midst of all this, by the way, what's happening is the QT and Myles, they're getting more flirty. Lauren and Max are getting more flirty. And what they're then presented with is voting time, which is who is the most human. Myles is the most human. That's what the vote says.
Yeah.
And then they right away are thrown into another kind of game, which is the upload the photo of the day that makes you feel most alive, which we kind of went over. Where Kyle's photo, then QT says abs by AI. Max's photo gets criticized by Myles. Paul has a rapping photo of himself, and Steffi calls it out and is like, oh, that's fake, essentially. And then Steffi posts her roller skating photo, and Paul is like, that's a stock photo. And it gets hot. It's all starting to come for each other. And then, by the way, what's offered to Myles, I forgot to mention this, when we find out that Myles is the most human, he, as the most human, will be the #1 influencer and be blocking, aka getting rid of someone who people find to be the least human. So everyone's trying to get rid of the AI, right?
Yeah.
So in this interim, now Myles is the most human. So now everyone's talking about who can the AI be. So everyone's going to Myles and is having these conversations with each other. This is when then we see Brandon, aka Olivia, stepping in for Stephanie and being like advocating for her. And then QT, who Myles is vibing with, is feeling a certain way about Steffi too. So then we're having more people coming to Myles saying, we're questioning Steffi. So he's getting a lot of that. But then, there's the Laurens who are like, I think it's Paul. Lauren was killing me because I think Lauren thought she was going to get voted #1.
Yeah.
And everyone's coming to her and saying, we think it's Steffi.
Yeah.
And Lauren's like, oh no.
Yeah,
She's like, I think it's Paul. And she didn't want to vote Steffi
Who's
out.
the one that said, I don't want to get caught up in like mob mentality? Was it Lauren? Who texted that to a group when they were, I think it was Myles was talking to a group of people, and it was with,
Yes.
it was with Paul. It was Myles, Paul, and Lauren.
No, I
maybe?
think it was Olivia, Lauren, and Myles. And I think Lauren brought up mob mentality.
And I thought that was really cool. It was a really good human moment to be like, yo, like, let's not get caught up in this, like,
and just all say Steffi.
it's
Like,
kind of like the traitor thing of like, hey, I don't want to just agree with this because it gets it
Exactly.
off me. It's like, let's be real here. And Brandon had that same energy too.
Yes.
Who is Olivia? So yes.
So then Myles is starting to spin out because Myles is like, well, I'm debating because I thought it might have been Steffi, but then now they're presenting really good points that are pro Steffi,
Yeah.
anti Paul. But then now all of a sudden we've got this Kyle situation, and my girl QT made the AI abs comment about Kyle. Like, I don't know. So then eventually everyone is able to tell Myles who they believe in a game called You Robot, who they believe the AI is. Lauren says Paul. Paul says Steffi, and says because of all of her hashtag horoscopes. That was good.
That was good.
Max said Steffi, but Max did a great job with the AI did a great job with their answer and was like, no hate towards Steffi, seems like an amazing person, but like with the whole horoscope thing, it feels like it could be stock, it could be from the internet, blah, 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 blah. But Max did a great job not coming hard. Cassie says Steffi, Kyle says Steffi, QT says Steffi, Steffi says Kyle, and Olivia says Kyle.
Yeah.
So Olivia didn't end up going with Paul. That was surprising to me. Olivia went with Kyle. So technically we have more votes for Kyle than Paul in the final tally. Lauren was the only one who voted for Paul. It was almost all Steffi, and then Kyle was in second.
But it's going to really come down to, we also got to remember that we're watching so much that is not being texted.
That's true.
That's, so you always got to put yourself in perspective of Myles, who's just having these short, small conversations with people. So we're watching long moments where Brandon's sitting there talking about this whole idea. Lauren's sitting there talking about this whole idea. Like, people are waxing on about their thoughts. So we have
unless they keep it short.
No, what I'm saying is, like, we see the videos of them talking to themselves in the apartment about their whole concept of why they think this way, versus the text messages are generally just very like one word or like one little thought or whatever.
Yeah.
So Myles is, I think it's really going to depend on just Myles. I think Myles is, I think this is my thought. I think Myles is going to use this as a play. I think this
That's
is.
what
I think
too.
I think Myles is taking in the ideas and he's going, okay, cool. So I don't want to pick someone that's that crazy, not AI, because then it'll make me look bad. But I'm also going to like really choose. Like, let's say Steph really even is AI. Does Steph pose a threat to me?
Yeah.
Not really. Does Paul? Maybe more so. Paul's a little unhinged. Okay, yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I think that like he's going to download the information and he's going to kind of go,
player could
how much
actually
of the
win
AI
this?
do I really just want to get rid of AI here?
No, 100%. I think you're right. And I think there was that final conversation, though, where Myles was talking to Max, and Max was saying that he thinks that it's Steffi. But then Myles was like, let's bring Paul in, and was like, hey, dude, say something to defend yourself. And Paul did a shit job.
Paul was just like, bro code. And it was like, okay, that doesn't help me.
Code. But then Max.
Yeah.
Myles was like, Max, say something, and Max was kind of like, oh well,
tough decision,
tough decision, and exited the chat. And Myles was sus of that.
Myles was like, that was weird.
And I will need to say, Max needs to be careful with Myles more than anyone, because Myles is the AI engineer and codes robots. Like,
you would think that he'd have some like tricky ways of kind of like asking questions to mess with them.
He might, but I think that he's the only one feeling sus of Max right now. And
that's true.
Other than that, everyone else is like Team Max. Like, no, he has,
That's super true.
So I don't know. It's something to think about. But I think, I really do think, so we're left on a cliffhanger. Myles chooses who he's going to block, and they're about to come face to face, because on the circle, when you block somebody, you go to their apartment and then you see them face to face.
Yeah.
It's so exciting. And so we're seeing the door open, but we don't know who's on the other side, and I'm freaking out. But I do think it's Kyle. I think that Myles is a smart game player. He even talked, like I said at the beginning, he's like, some people are going to love me, some people are going to hate me. And I think he's going to quote unquote break bro code. And I think he's going to ignore Steffi, even though he got like 7 votes for Steffi. And he's going to go with Kyle.
We'll see.
I think
It's
if he's going to
exciting.
play the game, I think he's going to play the game. So, anywho,
This is really fun. I really like this.
This is it because everyone is so unhinged and it's so wild and so quick.
And there's a chaos to it that's really fun.
There's like absolute chaos to it. And this is why I love some of these Netflix shows, baby. The characters. We got characters on these
Big time.
shows and it's fun to talk about. And now I'm invested and now I really like, as much as most of them drive me absolutely bananas. I love them now.
Because even love hating someone,
but even
like getting a reaction
but
out
I
of
also
you.
like I'm like I think I love everyone.
Well, there
like
you
I'm
go.
like everyone drives me nuts, but I'm
Right.
like but I kind of love all of them and they're bananas.
Like I wouldn't want to like hang maybe
would
with a
absolutely
chunk of them,
no.
but like watching them, it's good TV. It's
yeah,
good
and
TV.
they like pull on my heartstrings for some reason.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really excited to review next week because I can't wait for episode 5 when we find out. Who
I know.
I was bummed they left us cliffhanging.
I know we were screaming at the television. We were pretty mad about it. So join us next week. Here's the thing, fam. I know normally we drop a here's the thing hashtag FAAAAMMMM for life.
next
Hashtag next week. Our schedule is going to be a little bit different. Normally we drop an episode on Wednesday,
Yeah.
but because we're covering the circle, we're going to be dropping our next episode on Friday, and it will be the next 4 episodes of the circle. So that comes out next Friday. So we'll see you then, and then the following week we'll do another Traders Circle week situation. But
It's gonna be awesome.
we love you all. Have a beautiful weekend. Have a hashtag gorgeous weekend, gorgeous fam, and we love ya.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.